There are several reasons why you need to know when your next menstrual period is due. One of them could just be the fact that you want to get your supplies ready. You don't want your menstrual period to start when you don't have supplies handy. Another one could be that you're planning an occasion. Could be your wedding, could be your birthday, could be an outing, just anything, and you want your menstrual period out of the way. Another one could be the fact that you have a doctor's appointment coming up, and you know that in that doctor's appointment, they're going to ask you about your menstrual cycle, including when your next menstrual period is due. I mean, there's so many reasons why you need to know when your next menstrual period is due. In this video, I'm going to show you how to calculate when your next menstrual period is due in just 2 simple steps. In order for you to know when your next menstrual period is due, there are 2 pieces of information that you need. The first one is when your menstrual period started, and the second one is the length of your menstrual cycle. All right, so talking about when your menstrual period started, it doesn't matter whether it started during the day or it started at night time. The calendar date when it started is the first day of your menstrual cycle. So you need to know that date. And it's up to you whether you want to write it in a diary, or you want to have a small book where you just jot it down, or you want to keep it in your memory, or just put a dot somewhere, as long as you remember when your menstrual period started, that very first day. Now, about the length of the menstrual cycle, every woman has got their own menstrual cycle different from other women. So some women's menstrual cycle is 28 days, others 29, others 30. So you need to study your menstrual cycle to know what is normal for you. And you do that by taking some time, say 4, 5, 6 months, depending on what is comfortable for you, to study your menstrual cycle. Look at how many days it takes from one menstrual period to the next one, which is what we're going to do today. So I have a calendar here, which we're going to use as an example. I've pre-populated it just to use as an example for someone's menstrual cycle. So imagine that in January, the first day of the menstrual period was the 12th. So that day, irrespective of the time of the day, that day is the first day of the menstrual cycle. So when it starts, you put a dot, or you put a cross, or you tick it, or you mark it, or a circle, anything which makes you remember that on the 12th of January, you had your menstrual period, and that was the first day. So you go ahead and you bleed for maybe 5 days or 6 days, depending on how your menstrual period behaves, which again is a personal thing, as in it's different from other women. And then in February, the first day of the menstrual cycle was the 10th. So that day was the very first day that the menstrual period started. So you go ahead and you mark the 10th, and you carry on for March. So the cross which I've put here was the first day of this menstrual period on the 11th of March. And then in April, the first day of the menstrual period was the 6th of April, and in May was the 4th of May. All right, so I'm technically using 5 months to study this menstrual cycle, and obviously over the 5 months is going to give me 4 cycles because it's moving from one cycle to the next. All right, so now what we're going to do is to count from the first day of one menstrual period to the day before the next menstrual period starts. So technically, we're going to start from the 12th here up until the 9th. And if you count, it's day 1 is the 12th there, day 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So this cycle is a 29-day cycle, and you want to carry on doing that. So when you had the one in February, that first day when you had the menstrual period, you start counting from there up until the day before the menstrual period in March started. So you count from the 10th of February to the 10th of March. And then you count again from the 11th of March up until the 5th of April. And that's because the menstrual period in April started on the 6th. So remember that you're counting up until the day before the menstrual period starts. And that gives a 26-day cycle there. And then you count from the 6th of April, which is the first day the menstrual period started, up until the 3rd of May, because that's the day before the menstrual period started on the 4th. And that gives you a 28-day cycle. So now you've studied your menstrual cycle from January up until May. And then you want to put those figures together to find an average. And the reason why you need an average is because on some months, you'd have a slightly shorter than usual. So shorter would just be like, say, 1 day short. And on some months, you'd have a slightly longer and probably just 1 or 2 days. All right. So if you calculate all of that and you have, let's just imagine, say, a 30-day cycle. For some women, it will be exactly every 30 days. And for some other women, it will be like 29 days. So that's something which you want to study again and see. So now let's put all of these dates together and see what it gives us in terms of what the normal menstrual cycle for this person is. So what you're going to do is to put 29 plus 29 plus 26 plus 28, and that's going to give you 112, and you divide that by 4. And obviously you're dividing by 4 because you have 4 figures. Remember, we're trying to look for an average, and if you divide that by 4, it's going to give you, so that's 112 divided by 4. That gives you 28. So for this particular menstrual cycle, or for this person, they can safely say they have a 28-day menstrual cycle. Now, again, like I said, for some women, what that means is that every 28 days, they should expect to have their menstrual period. It could be on the 27th day, it could be on the 29th day, but once you're hitting that 28-day mark, you know that you're going to have your menstrual period. So now that you have this information, there are 2 ways to use it to calculate the next menstrual period. But before I show you how to do that, why not like the video and share it, and why not consider subscribing to the channel? Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of these videos. So now you know when your menstrual period started, and you know how long your menstrual cycle is. So 2 ways. The first way is to count manually. All right. So from the 4th of May, for example, where this one started, you just want to count 28 days. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So that means that on the 31st of May, you should be expecting to have your menstrual period, even though you had it on the 4th of May. And remember that, like I said at the beginning, it could be exactly 28 days for some women if they have a 28-day cycle. But for some other women, it's about 28 days. About 28 days means that for this person, for example, they could have it on the 30th, but they could also have it on the 1st of June. But at least now you know that on the 31st, I'm going to have my menstrual period. So that's the first way to do it. The second way to do it, you can go ahead and download apps from the internet. There are apps that help you to calculate your menstrual period. And actually, all of those apps will ask you the 2 pieces of information which we've talked about today. So first thing they'll ask you is, when was your last menstrual period? And second thing they'll ask you is, how long is your cycle? So once you put that information and submit, it's going to come back to you kind of immediately when your next menstrual period is due. So now that you know when your next menstrual period is due, why not watch this video here so you can learn how to care for yourself when you have the next menstrual period. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.